What's up, guys? Axel Toss here with another interview. This time, I got you an awesome StarCraft 2 Terran player from North America. He's been around the scene for a very long time and has plenty of awesome results. Currently on Denial Esports, he is Adrian KawaiiRice Kwong. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. And
Good.
you?
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging out with me. First thing I want to ask is actually, first thing I want to do is for people who aren't necessarily familiar with you, I'd like to give you the chance to kind of introduce yourself, kind of mention what team you're on, and give kind of a little bit of a brief back history of where you've come from.
Um, well, I'm KawaiiRice. I'm a Terran and Zerg player for Denial Esports. I've been playing the game since basically the beta, and uh, I used to be on Team Fnatic and then Light Esports, and now I'm on Denial.
Cool. And I want to apologize because I think I misspoke in the intro. I said you were a Terran player. Of course, he was a Terran player in Wings of Liberty, and then in Heart of the Swarm, or at least right now, you're playing both Terran and Zerg. And that begs the question: when did you make this decision and why?
Um, when I was playing Wings of Liberty, obviously I was a Terran player at the time,
Yeah.
and since I played Terran, I was obviously disgusted with Terran versus Zerg because I saw there was a lot of things that Zerg could do a lot better, and I didn't see like the point in switching at the time in Wings of Liberty because I had invested like so much time into
Ah.
that. But then once Heart of the Swarm started coming out, I figured like now was my time to sort of experiment with the other race.
Ah.
So then I started playing Zerg in HOTS beta.
And now you're kind of in between the two, or do you lean more towards another? Do you leave it for specific matchups to make the decision? How does that kind of work?
Um, Before WCS, I was actually like just switching my race between like each game in a series, just like based on the player or the map. But in WCS and apparently most tournaments, although I wasn't aware, uh, most tournaments only allow me to play like one race for the whole series.
Oh.
So I'm kind of like trying to decide on whether I'm gonna play both races still or not. That's kind of weird right now.
What do you think about that rule? What do you think tournaments should do? Where should they set the line as far as race switching? Should it be, one race the entire tournament? Should it be, okay, you can switch races, but only between series, or should you be allowed to switch any game you want?
I think it's in a series where there's vetoes where you like set the all the maps for the entire series.
Right.
I think it's fair to the player that doesn't race switch to have the races locked.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like loser picks after the first game out of like the whole map pool, I think it should be like anything goes and you can only race switch if you lose the game.
Huh.
But like if you win the game and then your opponent picks the map, then you should be stuck on the same race. But
Sure.
the way it is right now, I have to play the same race for the series, like no matter what, and I don't
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely makes it tough for random players, I would imagine. What if you just played random? I don't know. I've never really researched the rules that much. Like, what if you just straight up played random? Is that obviously you'd have to
Oh,
play all three races. You can't just choose between Terran and Zerg.
well, I'm having a really tough time just dividing my practice time for
Yeah,
both races. So like it'd be really hard to split my time into three.
sure.
And I don't think I would be able to decide like what a good map would be for Protoss. That would be better than like Terran or Zerg.
Fair enough.
So it's like if I play random, I'm like giving up my map advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. Well, can you talk a little bit about the complexities that arise between obviously playing two races? You talked about practice time. Um, obviously the differences between just playing one race. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Um, I mean, it's, the biggest thing is definitely the amount of time I have to practice. I'm like very limited, especially while I'm in school. Like
Ah.
right now, I'm just on summer break, so I can play as much as I want.
Hmm.
But like splitting up my practice time efficiently is definitely the biggest problem. But there's like pretty big benefits to playing both races. Like game understanding, my TVZ is obviously my strongest point. But like if I analyze a replay from ZVP, I learn a lot, uh, like on what Protoss can do economically and like their tech and stuff.
Sure.
So it helps both matchups to some degree, and it's just better overall for my game understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting to me. I was talking to, who was I talking to earlier? I think it was in Control, and we were talking about like like casting, like how that kind of impacts playing in a sense where, casters like, like Todd or Grubby, they're able to analyze all these different matchups and they're going to start learning these different things. Do you think that kind of applies in a sense as far as studying all these different matchups and truly identifying these timings that shouldn't or should or shouldn't be able to exist kind of a thing?
For sure. I don't know. I would imagine that the degree that playing two races is like a lot more beneficial than casting, just because
Sure.
like I'm trying to play it at a higher level. Um, but I also haven't casted much or at all, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Now you mentioned you're currently in school. Where are you attending university?
University of Washington.
Cool.
I'm
How is that
studying.
going? I mean, you talked about the challenges. How challenging is it to really split up your time to try to obviously continue getting good grades and making sure you're well on the way to graduating kind of thing, but also being able to attribute time to not only playing one race but two races. How difficult is it to manage that?
Um, I don't think it's like viable. I mean, I shouldn't say that, 'cause so like life is obviously super good in attending school, but
Sure.
for someone that's not disciplined enough, like me, I'm definitely gonna say I'm not disciplined enough. It's basically impossible to compete at the highest level. Like
Gotcha.
I wouldn't say that I'm a top player by any means. Uh, so I'm kind of like a more competitive player, not exactly like
Right.
a professional at the moment.
Moving forward, when do you graduate, if I may ask?
I think about 1.5 years,
Okay.
something like that.
Do you see yourself perhaps taking a role or actually pursuing an all-out professional career, considering your success being part-time?
Um, if the pro scene is still like big enough
Yeah.
when I graduate, then yes. But I can't like my parents are only supportive of my career while I'm like still doing school, so I can't take time off right now.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it feels like you're in a situation where you're not necessarily able to commit all the time possible. I mean, summer's great, obviously, but during the school you're kind of having to pick and choose events to play for and hoping you're available for qualifiers and that there's not an exam the next day. Have you ever had to like skip a class or anything like that due to maybe a tournament thing? And if your parents are watching, he's kidding, whatever he's about to say.
Um, I believe I've skipped maybe about a week's worth of school just to attend tournaments. Like I'd miss a day flying or coming back and stuff like that. But since I'm in college, like my schedule is usually pretty flexible, and
Hmm.
the key to being able to like attend tournaments without a problem is to pick the like Monday through Thursday classes,
Hmm.
so I
I
can
can
leave the
relate to
weekends open.
this. I can relate to this. I went through this. Yeah, guys, pick. It's tough, but go for like. I think I had a. I want to say I had like a schedule. I only had class like 3 days a week, but those 3 days were like, oh my god, they were ridiculous. But like, you got to make those sacrifices. No, it's a really good discussion because I feel like a lot of people watching this might be in that same situation where like they're in college, they're trying to figure out, okay, how can I make this work? If I ever want to be a professional gamer, I don't want to just give it up. No, but that's really cool. Being able to manage your time correctly is obviously going to be very important if you're going to want to be a pro gamer. But you said you're on Denial Esports right now. Can you talk a little bit about your joining the team and how that process kind of worked?
Um, After Light Esports disbanded, um, I was sort of teamless for a while, just looking for teams with Tilia. Uh, and we kind of like got approached by several teams, approached several teams on our own, and it was kind of like eh, didn't really find the right fit for a while. And then uh, a team called My Intent
Yes.
um, contacted us and said they were interested in picking us up. And then we joined for about like 1 to 2 months for a trial period
Hmm.
before joining on like officially. And then My Intent got picked up by Denial Esports, which
Oh,
is like a bigger multi-gaming team.
cool. I didn't know that. Very cool. And Telia is on this team with you still, I'm assuming?
Yes.
So how is your relationship with her, and how nice is it to have a friend going from team to team, and obviously being able to always talk to?
Um, I would say being teammates with Tilia is like a lot more important to me than if I had like any other person on my team because I was her Terran coach when we were in Light Esports, and then when I started playing Zerg, she started coaching me with Zerg. So we have like a really good, uh, not really like a coach-student kind of relationship, but
Right.
it's like just really good for training and getting feedback and stuff.
That's super cool. I think that's super important. And again, the team aspect is a big part of that. Now, going forward, do you have any particular goals, or maybe a date you have your eyes set on, or maybe a current rank on a ladder, a rank on the ladder somewhere, or what are your aspirations going forward? What are you hoping for in the near future?
Um, my goal has just been to like be as good, like be as good of a player as I can possibly be. Other than that, no other goals really.
I think that's a great goal to have. Absolutely. Well, best of luck moving forward, and I want to obviously give you a chance to have the floor. So the floor is yours. Any shout outs you want to do? Any plugs? If you want to say anything to your fans, now's the time.
Um, Thanks for supporting me and all my fans. Shout outs to my team, Denali Esports, and our sponsors. And yeah, thanks for the interview.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for coming on, man. It was a lot of fun. And again, best of luck going forward. I'll talk to you again later.
Okay, thank you.
See ya. All right, guys, that was KawaiiRice. Plays Terran and Zerg for Denial Esports. Definitely check him out. Up and coming Terran player. Actually, he's been there for a while, trying to make a statement though. But again, balancing with school might be very difficult indeed. But I'm definitely going to be rooting on him moving forward, guys. That concludes another interview. You've been watching Major League Gaming, and again, if you want to see any more video game content, head on over to MajorLeagueGaming.com. This has been Axel Toss, and I'll see you next time.